Welcome to Sicily, Marina di Portorosa, the starting place of our first episode of our new series, Itineraries. Portorosa is the home base of NSS Charter, our sponsor who made available boats and skippers and made this episode possible. In this case, we're going to the Aeolian Islands, a beautiful group of islands in the north of Sicily. For each island, we're going to give you mostly practical information, places where you can stay at anchor, and places where you can spend the night at moors or in port. We're going to tell you about prevalent winds, depths, anything you need to know to navigate safely. And we're also going to show you our favorite spots and tell you something about the towns. So let me go help these guys and let me show you the Aeolian Islands. Okay, so the adventure begins. We are here finally sailing towards the Aeolian Islands, and with us we have Simona. Hi, Simona. Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
We are here with Simona because she's a skipper from NSS Charter, and she's piloting this Lagoon 42 that NSS Charter made available to us to shoot this episode of Sailing 2. But there's also another reason. How long have you been sailing around these islands, Simona?
Now it's over 20 years.
I can't believe that. Okay, well, I'll take your word for it. So she knows practically everything about these islands. She knows them like the inside of our pockets, as we say in Italian. So let's say I charter a boat. What do I need to know?
This island, we need to know the prevalent wind that we are going to find.
Which are?
Mistral and westerly.
Okay, so basically from that direction.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
And you were saying something also about the towns that are on the islands.
Yeah. For this reason, because the wind comes from west, the main towns, they are all being built on the east side of the island.
So protected from the wind. So if you want to go to the towns, you go to the east, and if you want to be a quiet bay,
amazing bays, you go west.
Okay, so that's one thing. But the other important thing they were explaining to me was that these are all, of course, well, we know that volcanic islands. The most famous is perhaps Stromboli, which is an active volcano. But for this reason, they are great to see. But anchoring may be a problem sometimes. So
could be because the depth are quite high in the area. So we need to know where to go exactly, especially because both we have just 70 meters of chain, for example. So our maximum depth could be 20 meters, no more than that.
We know that the length of the road must be 3-4 times at least the depths. Is that correct? Okay. What about daily winds, the land breeze, sea breeze?
We don't have those here in the Aeolian Island.
So?
The reason is because the sea here in the Aeolian Island is quite hot, so we don't have a big excursion, thermic excursion, between land and sea. So we don't have this type of breeze.
And how about in general? I mean, are the winds strong or mild? I mean,
not very strong. Just if we find a very bad week, they can blow for over 3 days, especially if it's a mistral. But generally, the Aeolian Islands are calm wind-wise.
Okay, so they're named after Aeolus, the god of the wind, but actually the wind are not particularly strong.
No.
So that may be a good thing if you're looking for a very peaceful kind of sailing. But to go on, why don't you show us on the map exactly where we were going? You were explaining to us before, in front of us is Vulcano.
Vulcano, exactly.
Yeah, Vulcano. And then you have...
you have Lipari, Panarea, that one Stromboli, as you were saying before.
Okay.
And then on the other side, Salina, Filicudi.
And Filicudi?
Yes.
All right, I got it. Okay, let's go inside and let's look at the map.
Okay.
Please lead the way. So in front of me we have a map of the Aeolian Islands, and we started from Portorosa, the home base in Sicily of NSS Charter. Now, I'm going to ask Simona to illustrate our itinerary for the upcoming days. So, what's our first stop, Simona?
Tonight we're gonna stop west part of Lipari, in a bay over there, because we have got a little bit of easterly wind.
Right, so that protects us from the wind?
Exactly.
Okay, the wind is pretty light, but you were saying it's a question of comfort, right?
Yes, it's
Okay.
just this, it's not about safety.
Okay, great. And what about the next few days? Unfortunately, we don't have all that great weather on some of the days, so we had to perform some sad cuts on our program, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so
and we are gonna cut Stromboli, but we are gonna do Filicudi, which is
right. You can't have
nice.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so after Lipari, where are we going?
Tomorrow morning we are gonna go to town,
Right.
visit Lipari town. After that, we are gonna sail straight to Filicudi. From there, we are gonna go to Salina and await there.
Right. You were saying it's better to stop 2 nights because on Wednesday we have very bad weather, so it's not safe to move around. We'll be staying in Salina, relaxing, doing something on the island, I suppose. And after that?
After Salina, we are gonna sail to Panarea.
Right.
After Panarea, Vulcano. And from that, we are gonna go back home to North Sardinia.
Seems great.
Yeah.
Okay, so shall we do it?
Yes. of
Okay,
course.
to the bridge. Simona. Okay, so we are finally in Lipari.
Yeah.
We have anchored. Can you tell us something about this place?
The place is called Le Formiche and takes its name from the rocks we have behind us.
Right. And if you look that way, you will see actually one rock, and formiche is plural, the ants. The reason is that it's not one rock, there's actually a number of little rocks.
Yes, exactly.
And Simona was explaining to us that they are under the water and go sort of towards the coast. So we came in close to the coast, but especially if it's night or you don't know the area very well, the safest thing is to go round the rock and then choose the place where to anchor.
Go on the safe side.
Yeah, be safe. Speaking of being safe, other things we need to know about this bay.
We have to be careful about the landslide we have got here.
Okay.
This is forbidden actually to go ashore.
Oh, okay. And actually I can see those rocks, those 3 rocks, they look like really ready to fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
And about the bay, we anchored in 10 meters of water and the bottom is sandy, so it's a quite safe anchorage.
Okay, so anchorage is good. What about the winds? We came here because you said tonight we're going to have wind from the east.
So we repaired here from that, and we have coverage from all the easterly wind and from north.
Okay, and what if the Mistral, I know the Mistral is a prevalent wind here,
Yeah.
so what do we do in that case?
If it's a light mistral, we can spend the night here, but
Okay.
if it blows strongly, no, of course not.
Okay, we're going to go to the other side.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's about it. Last thing, dinner.
Yeah.
Shall we go see what's cooking?
Yes, let's
Okay.
do it.
Let's go. Okay, so we left the Bay of Le Formiche and we are navigating on the eastern side of the island. Where are we headed to?
We are going towards Pignataro.
Pignataro. And so that's our destination. How about this nice little town over here? What is it?
This one is all Lipari town, and this part in particularly, it's Marina Corta.
Okay. And how about that place over there? What's the name?
That one is Marina Lunga.
Okay.
And the two places are divided by the castle in the middle.
Okay, so you have the castle, the old part of the town on the left from our point of view, and Marina Lunga on the right-hand side.
The new part.
And where are we going to be mooring the boat?
We are going to Eolmare,
Eolmare.
one of the other 4 floating pontoons that
Yes.
are in the area.
And so we'll get off there and go for a walk in the town of Lipari. It will be a couple of hours because then we have to leave for our next destination, which will be Filicudi. And now we are in the main square of Marina Corta, is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is very nice.
The old part of town, as
Oh.
we were saying before.
Yes, it's my favorite. Fantastic. I mean, we have the fishing boats. The view is great. But listen, what about the practicalities? Can we get fuel here in Lipari?
Yes, we can here in Lipari, but also in the other island as well.
Oh,
so
okay, great.
sailors shouldn't be worried about it.
And what about water and electricity?
We can as well. Everywhere we have a pontoon, a dock in general, we can get those.
Okay.
But usually we have to pay, they are extras.
Okay, so if you just need the water, you will have to dock, pay for
Yeah.
it, and then...
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we have to remember that water is a precious item here on islands, so make good use of it. Other thing, we were at Eolmare. What if we want to anchor here instead?
We can as well. The only place on the east part in front of town is actually from here, from the castle, all around here to the entrance of Marina Corta.
Okay.
But we need to be very careful because the entrance itself is for the local boats.
Okay, so you shouldn't anchor in front of the entrance, but you can anchor. That's
We can
great,
anchor
actually. You
all
anchor
around.
right in and get down with the tender and visit the town. That sounds incredible. Okay, I think that's about it. We can wrap it up, and our next destination is...
Filicudi.
So let's go to Filicudi. So Simona, you were talking to me about that white cliff over there. What are those?
This one is the Cave di Pomice.
Yes.
It's an amazing
Pumice
place.
quarries.
Yes.
Okay. It's amazing. And you were telling us that the water there is fantastic because the sand is white, I mean
Yeah.
the pumice, and so the water is very blue.
Yeah, the water is very clear around here. And plus, this place, it's a very good anchorage.
Okay.
And it's a fantastic alternative if we don't want to go in front of Lipari town. Coming here at night is very safe.
Okay.
The depth around here is 5 meters, 4 to 6 meters, and the bay is very wide.
That sounds very good. Okay. Listen, can you pass me one of those rocks?
Yes.
Because these are actually typical of Lipari. You can buy them in stores and they're very, very light. And in fact, this is the only stone that floats in water, right?
Correct.
Okay. Having said that, you were mentioning also something about hydrofoils when you're staying at the
Yes.
pontoon.
It's the only thing bad around here, around this island.
Hydrofoils.
Yes,
Why?
unfortunately. For the speed that they have.
They like to go fast.
They love it.
Okay.
And what they do during the day, being Lipari Bay that wide, that big, they arrive at a speed that is too much.
Okay.
So you're gonna have problem if you stay at the pontoon during the day over there. But arriving at night is gonna be okay because after 8 p.m. until the next morning, till 8 a.m., they reduce the speed. So they're gonna let you sleep in peace.
Or you can leave the boat, go for a walk in Lipari, and then come back at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good anyways. Okay, shall we go to Filicudi?
Yes.
Yes. We're saying there's a buoy field.
Yes, there is. We are going on the east part of town tonight in Filicudi Porto.
Okay.
Last night we slept on the west part. For the weather, this time we're going to do the opposite.
Okay, let's go then.
Let's go to Filicudi.
Here we go. So we are now in Filicudi. We arrived last night. It was dark. But this morning we got a chance to see this picturesque little town. Behind me you can see the mooring field where we moored. The other possibility is reserving a spot at the floating pontoons, which you don't see because they're not there.
Yeah, it's going to be ready in a couple of weeks.
Okay, towards the end of June. So that's your second possibility. But say we don't want to actually moor at the floating pontoon or at the mooring field. What do we do?
We can also anchor here in this bay, and there is a stony beach
Right
over
there,
there.
right?
Yes, right
Okay.
there. And in about 10 meters of water. So
Okay. Other things we need to know. We're sailing in these islands. Filicudi, when can we come here?
this part of the island, this bay, it's protected as a wind from south, southwest and west, but it's better to come to Filicudi just when the weather is good, so in light winds.
So why is that?
Because it's not really protected, you know, from strong winds, from moderate or strong winds.
So even if you reserve a spot at a pontoon, if the wind is above 10 knots, it could be uncomfortable.
Yeah, it could be uncomfortable. You're going to have waves.
Okay, and you also have waves from hydrofoils and ferries, but luckily that's only during the day. At night you will sleep soundly. So if the winds are mild, and they often are, you can come to Filicudi and visit this town, no problem. So what we're going to do now is go on the other side of the island to the spot Simona was telling me about. The name is Pecorini. So let's go there. Okay, so we are now on the other side of the island of Filicudi. The little town behind me is called Pecorini. And the bay of Pecorini is very, very nice. You have the volcanic rock over there. You have a nice beach over there. Stones, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, you have the town itself. What can you tell us about the town, Simona?
Something particular here in Pecorini is the bar right behind us,
Yes.
the saloon.
It's called Saloon, like a Western bar. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. All the sailors come here at night to chat also with the locals, and they come there to drink something and to talk.
And you were saying they don't serve food, but...
No, they don't, but there is a local lady and she prepares lots of Sicilian specialties at home, and then she comes here and sells everything.
Okay, so that's certainly on our list and it should be on yours. But we came here with a boat. We want to know about mooring. So I know there's a mooring field because that's where we attached our boat to a buoy with the help of the sailors here, so no big deal this time. What are the other options?
The other option is just to come here at the pier, in which you can drop the anchor and come astern and secure the line here at the pontoon. Just be careful about the depth, because it starts from the head of the pier around 17 meters and then it degrades around here 10 meters.
Okay.
Also careful about the bottom because it's just rocky, so it's not a very good holder.
Okay, and this is free, right?
Yeah, this is totally free.
Okay, so this is free. If it's light wind, that's an option. You can also anchor over there.
Over there, yeah.
Okay, without using the pier. Or, of course, if the wind is stronger, we would recommend a buoy. And if it's stronger than that, say above 12, 13 knots, maybe choose another day to come to Filicudi. That's about it. Shall we go see this town?
Yes, let's go.
Okay. There's one thing I was thinking, the automatic gangplank of the Lagoon 42, that's a bit unusual on a charter boat.
Because that is not a real charter boat, that is a management program.
Okay.
That means that the boat is being bought by a sailor.
A private owner.
A private owner. He paid half of the price, the other half of the price being paid by NSS, and they share the time.
Okay.
the owner will use the boat for some time, and NSS Charter will use the boat for other time.
Okay.
And the beautiful thing, the great thing, is that the owner doesn't pay any maintenance.
Okay.
He doesn't pay mooring, he doesn't pay...
Because that's all NSS Charter that takes care of that.
All the expenses are on NSS.
Okay, and how long does this
7
last?
years.
After 7 years?
After 7 years, the boat is yours.
Oh, okay, that sounds pretty good. Yeah,
it's not
pretty
bad.
good.
No, it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Simona, what's the name of that rock we saw today? The pinnacle in the middle of the sea?
It's called La Canna.
Oh, okay.
And it's the symbol of Filicudi, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's really impressive, really beautiful.
It
yes.
is.
Okay.
It's over 70 meters tall.
Yeah, it's
and
amazing.
it's the remaining of a volcano.
Really?
Yeah, it was the center of it.
Okay, so that's all that is left of the volcano?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Listen, could you actually anchor there, spend the night there? No, I don't think so.
No, not directly at La Canna, but at the
Okay.
other rock that is close by, Monte Nassori.
Okay,
there it's
the little
possible
one,
to anchor,
okay.
yeah, and spend the night.
Okay.
But just if we have no wind,
Of course.
because as you saw, it's totally open, so
Yeah, it totally
it's not going to be
exposed.
safe if there is wind.
Yeah, but seems like a great place to spend the night, though.
It is. You are going to be under a great sky.
Yes. Okay. Well, listen, I really enjoyed Zakan, I really enjoyed Filicudi, and I really enjoyed his food.
Yeah.
Okay, so I propose a toast to Filicudi. Everyone, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. We left the Bay of Pecorini this morning and we sailed to the island of Salina. I really enjoyed the Filicudi. I mean, it was fantastic.
Yes, it was.
And so I want to thank you, Simona, for taking me there.
You're welcome.
Okay. I mean, the food was very nice, the people were nice, and the island was absolutely great. I mean, I loved it. Having said this, we are now motoring along the coast of Salina, and we just rounded that point over there. And the name is...
We are in Capo Faro right now.
Okay, so Capo Faro is the name of that point, and the name refers to the lighthouse on the top. What about this bay?
The name of this bay is also Capo Faro.
Okay, so this is a
Takes
bay
its
of
name-
Capo Faro.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
all right. Can you
It's
tell me?
another option if you want to come here and it's not possible to do Pollara for any reason, like
Yeah.
for example today
Yes.
that we couldn't do it for the wind.
Yes.
Here is a fantastic spot.
Yes, let me explain. Pollara is a very, very nice bay on the other side of the island. We went by Pollara and we hope to be able to show it to you on the way back from Panarea. We didn't stop because there's quite a breeze blowing from the west, and so there were a lot of waves. We chose to go round to this other option. As you can see, even if the wind is around 10 knots with gusts up to 15, the sea is practically flat. So if you want to anchor, you can come here. And this is why we almost stopped here. We're actually going very slowly along this side of the
it.
coast. You were saying it's a good holder too.
Yes, it is. The bottom is sand,
Okay.
so it's very good, and you can stop in about 8-10 meters of water.
Okay, that sounds very good. If you remember, Filicudi, it was rock, so that was something to keep in mind. In this case, we have sand, so sand is a better holder, and so it's you can stay here even if the wind is stronger. Of course, if it gets very strong, then there are going to be waves anyways, and so in that case, maybe you're better off going to the town. And that's where we're going actually, right?
Yeah, we're going to Santa Marina di Salina.
We're going to Santa Marina di Salina. Okay, so we are now in the port of Santa Marina on the island of Salina. After the port of Pignataro in Lipari, this is the only other port in the Aeolian Islands. So if there's lots of wind, this is a safe place to go, right? Okay. But there's a couple of things you have to know about this port that Simona was telling me about. Simona, can you illustrate?
This port is open to southeast, so if we have strong winds from west, which comes totally from the other side of the island, and you will think you are protected here, unfortunately you are not, because the wind goes around the island and comes into the harbor sideways,
Right.
which can be a problem during a maneuver.
Yes, so it's not so much a problem once you're in your slot, but while you're maneuvering backwards, the wind will be coming this way and pushing your bow. And that's also a problem because Salina does not offer any assistance with the tender, unlike Pignataro. So what you have to do is quickly grab the lazy line, move to the front and secure the bow. In that case, you're done. If you don't, then the wind will push you against the other boats. So be fast, be safe. Okay, other thing we should know?
Another thing is that still with the same wind, when it's strong, then at night you are going to have a little wave inside the harbor,
Okay.
which is not going to be a safety problem at all. It just can make maybe your night a little bit annoying for the noise of the line.
And that's with a strong wind.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that sounds like a minor issue.
Yes.
I mean, just discomfort. How about you were saying there are a couple of alternatives in terms of free places where you can stay?
You have got two spots that we can choose from, either the bay in front of us, and you can anchor over there in about 4 to 10 meters of water.
And is it rocky like Filicudi?
No, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
It's sandy. It's a sandy bottom, so it's a very good holder, no problem at all. Just remember the little wave again if you've got the strong wind. Yeah.
How about the other option you were telling me about?
That one, it's another free option. It's the public harbor, which is right next to us.
It's basically the same structure. We have a dock in between and the private here and the public there.
Yeah.
What do you do there?
Over there you just drop your anchor. It's a sandy bottom over there as well. Around 4 meters of water you will find.
And you back against the berth,
Yes.
secure the boat. So, and that's free. Just remember to call the Guardia Costiera, the Italian Port Authority. Having said that, what about the town? What can you tell us about the town?
The town is lovely, and you are going to find everything that you need.
Yeah. The town is absolutely lovely. I mean, we visited this morning, and last night we went to Alfredo.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something we had, a Sicilian specialty. What's the name?
The name is pane consato.
Let's have a Sicilian say that. It's basically bread with a pizza topping. And also you were saying has, all the practical things you need, right?
Restaurant, bars, pharmacy, shops, mechanic, the gas
if,
station.
let's hope not, you have a problem. So, okay, sounds good. What about our next stop? What will that be?
It's going to be Panarea.
Okay, so, and which is?
Over there.
Right, I was going to say that. Well, anyways, let's go to Panarea. So I'm here with Simona in front of the town of San Pietro on the island of Panarea. Behind me you can see these beautiful white houses with these round white columns which have a special name.
They are called the pulera.
Okay.
And another characteristic of Panarea is that at night you don't have any public electricity but just candles.
Oh, great.
So you have a very soft light.
Very nice, very charming little town. What about basic services?
You find everything you need from restaurant, bars, shops, pharmacy, bakery.
Okay, and another thing about this island is that it has no cars, right? No cars allowed, just small electric vehicles. Now that makes it sound like a very nice, peaceful little town, which is in fact not the truth, because this is the home of the
movida.
Movida of the Aeolian Islands. This is where the action is. And in fact, there's a mooring field over there. You can go there, and we're going to talk about that later. But anyways, they provide service throughout the night, so you can go to the disco, then back to your boat. Okay, so if you like Movida, this is where you should go. If you're not interested, choose another mooring field or anchor for free in one of the many bays of the island. To find more about that, let's go talk a little bit about navigation. Simona was telling me there are 3 mooring fields
3.
here in Panarea. Where are they located?
One is north of the town, another one is south of San Pietro, and the last one is in Baia Milazzese.
And it's the one we went by earlier, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. But we have other options, right? Say
Yeah.
we want to anchor for free in the bay. Where do we go?
Oh, we've got many options because right here in front of town you can anchor almost everywhere. Just be careful to the ferries.
Of course.
And you are gonna have 10 meters of water roughly. It's all sandy bottom, so
Okay,
it's gonna
sounds
be a
very
good
good.
holder.
Okay, and so are all the bays with have a sandy bottom?
Yes, all except just one, the one in the north part of the island.
Okay, what's the name of that bay?
La Nave.
La Nave, the ship. Okay, so we have La Nave, San Pietro, and
Baia Milazzese and Calaiunco.
okay. Baia Milazzese and Calaiunco, we went there. They're absolutely beautiful. I mean, I really love both of them. And you can actually go down and walk to the top. It's sort of a promontory. And we have Calaiunco on this side,
one
correct
side.
me if I'm wrong, and Baia Milazzese on the other side. Now, I actually walked up there with Simona, and there's a narrow path and like a bridge of rock, and you get to this top of the promontory where, imagine, you have a prehistoric village which dates from 1400 BC. You have these round huts, you can see them in the images, and they also have a little private garden in front. So, incredible. Nothing I would have expected here on Panarea.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Can you tell us something more about these 2 bays?
Baia Milazzese is a very protected bay. It's the only place here in Panarea that is covered from the Mistral. Even if it blows really strong, that one is going to be a good spot. The depth is between 4 and 10 meters, all sandy bottom, as we said earlier, so very good holder. While in Calaiunco, you cannot actually enter inside the bay, so it's forbidden.
Oh, it's forbidden. Okay.
Yeah, you have to stay outside, and you are gonna have around 10 meters of water over there.
Oh, so you cannot enter the Calaiunco, but you can anchor in front of it if
Yes.
the conditions are right. Okay. Is that sandy too? Yes.
Yeah, it's sandy. It's
Okay,
sandy
so
as
that
well.
sounds like a good option, and the Calaiunco is absolutely amazing. So now let's go to our next stop, which are gli scoglietti,
Yes.
the little rocks. Okay, so we have now arrived at gli scoglietti, the little rocks. Simona, tell us something about this place.
Panarea has got 9 rocks around there, and they are really, really nice.
Yes.
Totally different one to another, and we are now between Lisca Bianca and Bottaro on our left. The bay is rocky, the bottom,
Okay.
so we need to be careful, but the depth is not that much because it's between 4 and 10 meters.
So now we're anchored in
5 meters now.
5 meters. So if you're ready to dive at 5 meters, if your anchor gets stuck, fine. Otherwise, perhaps think of setting up an anchor buoy. This is a great place to swim. I mean,
It is,
very
it
nice.
is.
And also, you were telling me there's that particularity we want to talk about.
Yeah, we have got gas emission from beneath the surface,
Right.
and we have got bubbles that comes up.
Yeah, we went by, and there's all these bubbles coming up. And what they explained to me was that when Stromboli, the volcano, is more active, the bubbles also liven up, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yes. So it's all a volcanic system, and in fact, all these rocks that we went by, they form a circle, which was basically the edge of a crater of a volcano that is now mostly under the water.
It is.
But it's dead volcano, so
Yes.
we're safe.
Yes, we are.
Okay, listen, we promised we would try to show Pollara on Salina, right? So we're going to try to do that on our way back to Vulcano, which will be our next stop. Okay, so we are back in Salina, and as we promised, we are showing you the Bay of Pollara. We came here earlier on, but there was a lot of wind from the west, and when that happens, you cannot really anchor here comfortably.
Exactly.
We still have a wind from the west, but it's so light that it's not a problem. Simona, what can you tell us about this bay?
The bay is really nice. It's quite wide, as you can see, but you can use just half of it because you have to draw an imaginary line from this rock that is called Farallone of Pollara to the cliff behind us.
Okay.
And the north part of the bay is actually a natural reserve, so it's not possible to go inside. The depth here it's a bit more than on the other side because we have between 10 to 15 meters and between 6 to 10 meters over there. The bottom is the same, it's a mixture of sand and rocks.
Yes.
But it's not a big problem.
Can you stay here and anchor during the night?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
And it's actually a lovely spot because during the day it's very, very busy. But at night, just few boats stay here.
Okay.
And they have a lovely sunset right in front of them with the
imagine.
view of Filicudi
Okay,
and Filicudi.
so with what winds can we stay here and with what winds can we not stay here?
We are protected here from all the easterly wind, so from east and southeast. It's going to be open, of course, to all the westerly ones.
Yeah, but the bay is absolutely fantastic. There's different types of rocks, like tuff and lava rock, and they have different colors, so really amazing. And also I liked, well, of course, the natural arch and the little houses over there. I don't know how much you can see. Those are actually places where they store the boats. Is that it?
Fisherman boats.
Fisherman boats. So absolutely worth a visit. Now, having said that, let's go to our next stop, which is Vulcano. We are now on the island of Vulcano, which is our last stop on this tour of the Aeolian Islands. We stayed at the Baia di Levante. Now, if you look at the island, it has a promontory called Vulcanello, which means little volcano. And on the right, if you look towards the promontory, you have the Baia di Levante, which means bay from which the sun comes up. And on the left, you have the Baia di Ponente, that is where the sun sets. Now, we stayed on the right part of the promontory. So let's have Simona tell us a little bit about this Baia di Levante.
The Levante Bay, it's open, of course, to all the east winds and is protected from Mistral down to all south. So from Mistral, west, southwest and south winds. The bottom is a mixture between sand and mud, but it's a very good holder. You just need to be careful because if you are very close to the beach, you are going to have a depth around 4 to 5 meters, which is going to be perfect for you. But if you go a little bit behind, you are going to find between 8 and 10 meters of water over there, and be careful, never go after the depth.
Okay.
Because
there's
the
a sheer
bottom,
drop.
exactly.
Yeah, like you were saying. So basically, like you explained, it sort of slopes more gently and then there's a drop. So don't anchor close to that drop, no more than 10 meters, because then of course you risk that your anchor goes over the edge and then of course you're floating out towards the sea. Having said that, what in terms of practical service in the bay?
In the bay we have floating pontoons and a mooring field.
Yes, and so you can anchor there, and that's very close to the town, of course.
Yeah,
you can walk to the town. Okay, basic services in the town?
Everything you need, plus we have got also nautical shops, mechanics, gas stations.
Yes, and the town perhaps is not as picturesque as Panarea or Lipari, but has some very interesting things. One was the mud bath.
Yes, incredible.
Yes.
Close also to the mud bath, which is used, it's a thermal bath and it's very good for the skin.
Yeah, let's explain what it is. I mean, it's really natural, and it's a natural mud pond with very hot water, sulfur, gas bubbles coming from the bottom, and mud. And you can use this mud, and apparently it's very good for your skin.
Yes,
okay.
it is.
And it's free, so absolutely worth a visit. And besides that, there is of course the volcano.
Yeah, the Gran Cratere,
Yes.
which is amazing. You arrive on the top in about 40 minutes. It's not very hard going up, so it's very, very nice.
Yes, and remember that this is actually an active volcano, so you can see signs of that activity. These clouds of smoke that billowing up from the crater or coming out of the rocks, very, very impressive. After that, there is, of course, in the promontory, the bay on the left. What can you tell us about Baia di Ponente?
Baia di Ponente, exactly. That bay is shaded, sheltered from the wind, of course, from east, so it's very good from all the wind from northeast to south. The bottom is sand, it's all sand, so fantastic holder. In the center of the bay, you are going to have around 5 meters of water, and you are going to have an amazing sunset overlooking the Faraglioni, Lipari Faraglioni, and Le Formiche.
Okay, and that, of course, if you want to anchor at bay, well, then you're better off in the Baia di Levante, yes. But that's not your only choice, because as Simona told us, there's a mooring field and there's also a floating pontoon. After that, we took our two boats and we navigated towards south.
The south, yeah.
Okay, and we got to this amazing bay, and the name is?
We are in the Spiaggia del Cannitello, and we are between Bandiera Cape and Asino Cape.
Okay, and it's a very nice place, also because there's a beach. Not all bays in the Aeolian Islands have beaches you can go to, but here you can go. You have this nice rock, which is tough. It's a different tough, so it's very dark. And as you can see, the sand also is very, almost black, I would say. Very, very interesting.
It is.
What else can you tell us about this bay?
Just about the beach, be careful if you go ashore, because the sun being black is very, very hot.
Okay.
So wear shoes, remember it.
Okay.
About the two bays, they are just open, of course, to all the south wind. And
Sorry, because there's another bay on the other side of this promontory. Okay, so there are two bays. This is Spiaggia Cannitello, and the other one is?
Spiaggia dell'Asino.
All right, okay. So this one, the one that has no lights, you were saying?
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Yes.
No light, while the other, we have got a little town that is called Gelso, plus there is the lighthouse, and there is a on the beach there is a lido, so there is a bar and...
Okay, so if you want to spend a nice quiet night, you can come here. If you want a little bit of action, you can go to the next bay. Well, I think that's about it for Vulcano, in the sense that we have covered all our favorite spots, and we hope you enjoyed our tour of the Aeolian Islands. If you did, let us know by clicking on like and encouraging us to do more videos for you. Also, remember to click the link in the description so you can subscribe to SVN Network. You will receive our special issues with all the details about technical matters, but also, for example, the article in which we talk more in detail about what we have shown you during this tour, and also give you all the practical information. That's about it. I want to thank our sponsor, NSS Charter, because without them it would not have been possible to make this video. They provided the boats, and they also provided, well, Simona. Thank you very much, Simona. You were absolutely invaluable with your knowledge and with your skills. So thank you very much. Okay, that's it. The appointment is for the next video of SVN Network.